Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Current Affairs MCQs. Let's start with previous day's practice question. The question was, consider the following statements. Statement 1. A living will allows patients to document their treatment wishes, ensuring dignity in end-of-life decisions. Statement 2. The Common Cause versus Union of India 2018 recognized the right to die with dignity as a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution of India and legalized the use of advanced medical directives or living wills. Which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statements? Both statements are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. Both the statements are correct and statement 2 is not the correct explanation for statement 1. Statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is incorrect. Statement 1 is incorrect but statement 2 is correct. The correct answer is option A. A living will allows patients to document their treatment wishes, ensuring dignity in end-of-life decisions. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Passive euthanasia involves withholding or stopping life-sustaining treatments, letting a person die naturally from their condition. The Supreme Court verdict in Common Cause versus Union of India 2018 recognized the right to die with dignity as a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution of India and legalized the use of advanced medical directives or living wills. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Common Cause versus Union of India 2023 simplified the process for making living wills and withholding or withdrawing life-sustaining treatment by removing bureaucratic hurdles. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Let's begin today's session. The first question is, New Delhi, Metallo-beta-lactamase 1, sometimes in the news, is best described as, it is a vaccine developed to combat antibiotic-resistant bacteria. It is an enzyme that makes bacteria resistant to a range of antibiotics. It is a type of bacterial strain causing severe respiratory infections, or it is a gene found only in viruses that enhances their replication. The correct answer is option B. New Delhi Metallo-beta-lactamase 1 is an enzyme that renders bacteria resistant to a wide range of beta-lactam antibiotics, including carbapenems, which are crucial for treating antibiotic-resistant infections. The gene encoding NDM1 belongs to a broader family of genes responsible for producing beta-lactamase enzymes known as carbapenemases. Bacteria that produce these enzymes are often termed superbugs in the media due to the challenges they pose in treatment. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Next, consider the following statements related to the Private Member Bill in India. 1. The responsibility for drafting it lies with the minister overseeing the relevant subject. 2. A minimum notice period of 1 month is required before its introduction in the House. 3. Its rejection by the House does not affect the government's parliamentary confidence. How many of the above statements is or are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3, none. The correct answer is option B, only 2. A private member refers to any member of parliament who is not a minister. The responsibility for drafting a private member's bill lies with the concerned member and not the ministry concerned. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Unlike government bills, which can be introduced and discussed on any day, private members' bills are introduced and debated only on Fridays. A 1-month notice is required before its introduction in the House, and if multiple bills are proposed, a ballot system determines their order of presentation. Hence, statement 2 is correct. The Parliamentary Committee on Private Members' Bills and Resolutions reviews these bills, classifying them based on urgency and importance. Notably, the rejection of a private member's bills has no bearing on the government's parliamentary confidence or its continuation in office. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Next, consider the following statements. 1. It is the Indian Navy's biennial and largest maritime exercise that strengthens joint operations against maritime threats with participation from the Army, Air Force and Coast Guard. 2. It is being conducted in the Indian Ocean region over a duration of 3 months. 3. It includes harbour and sea phases featuring combat operations, cyber and electronic warfare, live weapon firings and amphibious exercise. Which of the following exercises best matches the above description? Tropex 25, Malabar exercise, RIMPAC or Varuna exercise? The correct answer is option A, Tropex 25. The Indian Navy's Theatre Level Operation Exercise 2025 is being conducted in the Indian Ocean region over a duration of 3 months. It is the Indian Navy's biennial and largest maritime exercise that strengthens joint operations against maritime threats with participation from the Army, Air Force and Coast Guard. Objective: validate the Indian Navy's warfighting skills and ensure an integrated response to conventional, asymmetric and hybrid maritime threats posed by countries like China. Phases: it includes harbour and sea phases featuring combat operations, cyber and electronic warfare, live weapon firings and amphibious exercise. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Next, consider the following statements with reference to the National Commission for Safai Karamcharis. 1. It is a statutory body under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. 2. It conducts field visits, grievance redressal, policy reviews, and can take suo motu cognizance of problems of Safai Karamcharis. Which of these statements given above is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer is option B, 2 only. The National Commission for Safai Karamcharis was established on 12 August 1994 as a statutory body under the National Commission for Safai Karamcharis Act 1993, initially for 3 years. Though extended until February 2004, the Act lapsed, and since 29 February 2004, NCSK has functioned as a non-statutory body under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. NCSK conducts field visits, grievance redressal, policy reviews, suo motu cognizance of problems of Safai Karamcharis, and submits reports to the ministry. Hence, statement 2 is correct. It recommends welfare policies, monitors laws like the Prohibition of Employment as Manual Scavengers Act 2013, investigates grievances, and ensures compensation for sewer deaths and disabilities as per SC ruling. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Next, consider the following statements with reference to the lymphatic filariasis. 1. Lymphatic filariasis is caused by a virus. 2. The disease spreads through mosquito bites. 3. It damages the lymphatic system leading to swelling of body parts. How many of the above statements is or are correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3, none. The correct answer is option B, only 2. Lymphatic filariasis is caused by roundworm parasites that live in the lymphatic vessels. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. The main types of worms are Wuchereria bancrofti, Brugia malayi, Brugia timori. The disease spreads through mosquito bites, hence statement 2 is correct. When a mosquito bites an infected person, it injects tiny larvae. Later, when the same mosquito bites a healthy person, it transmits the parasites into their bloodstream, leading to infection. It damages the lymphatic system, leading to swelling of body parts, causing pain, disability, and social stigma. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Next, Nipun Bharat, often seen in the news, is best described as a national initiative to promote financial literacy among rural women, a government program aimed at enhancing foundational literacy and numeracy skills in children, a digital platform for skill development in the manufacturing sector, or a scheme focused on improving higher education infrastructure in India. The correct answer is option B. The National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and Numeracy was launched by the Department of School Education and Literacy in 2021. The mission aims to ensure that every child in the country achieves foundational literacy and numeracy by the end of grade 3 with a target completion by 2026-27. NEP 2020 stipulates that foundational literacy and numeracy is critical for education and lifelong learning success. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Next, the term donkey route, often seen in the news, is best described as a traditional trade route used by merchants in Central Asia for transporting goods on donkeys, an illegal immigration pathway used by migrants to enter foreign countries through unsafe and unofficial routes, a military strategy involving the use of donkeys for logistics in difficult terrains, or a conservation initiative aimed at protecting wild donkey populations in Africa. The correct answer is option B. The donkey route refers to illegal migration pathways used by individuals attempting to enter another country without proper authorization. These routes are often dangerous and involve multiple stopovers across different countries, typically facilitated by human smugglers. The donkey route is widely used by Indians attempting illegal migration to destinations like the United States, Canada, and Europe. It involves traveling through multiple countries using fake documents, unauthorized border crossings, and smuggling networks. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Next, regarding the Indus Valley script, consider the following statements. 1. The script was discovered in the 1920s by Sir John Marshall's team and remains undeciphered. 2. It appears on seals, terracotta tablets, and metal, featuring pictograms and animal or human motifs. 3. It is generally written right to left, longer text, and sometimes use Boustrophodon style. How many of these statements given above is or are not correct? Only 1, only 2, all 3, none. The correct answer is option D, none. The Indus Valley script was used by the Indus Valley civilization in present-day Pakistan and northwestern India. The script was discovered in the 1920s by Sir John Marshall's team and remains undeciphered. Hence, statement 1 is correct. It appears on seals, terracotta tablets, and metal, featuring pictograms and animal or human motifs. Hence, statement 2 is correct. It is generally written right to left, longer text sometimes use Boustrophodon style. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Most inscriptions are short, averaging 5 characters, with the longest known text containing 26 symbols. The brevity has led to debates about whether it represents a full-fledged language or merely symbolic notations. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Next, what is the likely impact of the Monetary Policy Committee reducing the benchmark repo rate? 1. It may lower borrowing cost and stimulate economic growth. 2. It may put downward pressure on the rupee. 3. A repo rate cut will immediately bring down inflation. Select the correct answer using the code given below. 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 only, or 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. Lower borrowing cost can stimulate economic growth, hence statement 1 is correct. A reduction in the repo rate makes borrowing cheaper for businesses and consumers, encouraging investments, home purchases, and higher spending, which can help revive sluggish GDP growth. It may put downward pressure on the rupee, hence statement 2 is correct. A rate cut can lead to capital outflows as foreign investors seek better returns elsewhere, weakening the rupee against the dollar. This could make imports costlier, potentially impacting India's trade balance. A repo rate cut will not immediately bring down inflation, hence statement 3 is not correct. While lower interest rates can stimulate demand, they do not necessarily lead to an immediate reduction in inflation. Hence option A is the correct answer. The last question is, consider the following statements. 1. They are best known for their unique mass nesting called Arabada. 2. They are found in warm waters of the Pacific, Atlantic and Indian Oceans. 3. They are protected under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Which of the following species best matches the above description? Olive ridley turtle, dugong, blue whale or mantare? The correct answer is option A, olive ridley turtle. These turtles are carnivorous and get their name from their olive-colored carapace. They are best known for their unique mass nesting called Arabada, where thousands of females come together on the same beach to lay eggs. They are found in warm waters of the Pacific, Atlantic and Indian Oceans. Odisha's Gahirmatha Marine Sanctuary is known as the world's largest rookery, a colony of breeding animals of sea turtles. Protection status: Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Schedule 1, IUCN Red List, vulnerable. Sites, Appendix 1. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Now it's time for the practice question. Regarding the constitutional morality, consider the following statements. 1. It signifies adherence to constitutional norms, embracing sovereignty, social justice and equality beyond mere textual interpretation in a democracy. 2. It is explicitly mentioned in Part 3 of the Indian Constitution. 3. The Supreme Court likened constitutional morality to a second basic structure doctrine, highlighting its significance in restraining arbitrary power. How many of the statements given above is or are correct? Only 1, only 2, only 3 or all 4? Send the answer to this question in the comment section. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.